Okay, before we get started, welcome back everybody. Hope you all had a nice break over the Christmas period. The markets were a little bit lighter, which is very normal. However, there was quite a bit of volatility. I know Japanese yen did some crazy things. Mr. Draghi said some nasty things as well, which made the euro do quite a lot. And furthermore, this morning there was a huge gap on most things, and the first 15 minutes of trading were very fast paced. I'll talk about that as we get to each individual chart. But what I'm showing you up on my screen right now, these are the news events for the week. As usual, I like to try and highlight one or two key pairs that are most susceptible to data for the week. And the highlight of the week for the first, I guess, proper trading week of the year for 2015, it's got to be the US non-farm payroll over here, which happens, let's call it 12:30 midnight on Friday night, or technically it's Saturday morning. Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time. Now, typically non-farm payroll happens first Friday of the month, and this is the second Friday of the month, but because last week was so close to New Year's Day, it's been delayed and it will be released later this week. I don't know, Greg, if it's just yourself that's having some sound problems. I know that I've had internet issues on my side over the last week, and they've been repairing them. They tell me that everything's back up to normal. I've seemed to have a good internet speed on my side. I am recording the session, so if it does get unbearable, I apologize. You can catch the recording a little bit later. Okay. Okay, so US non-farm later this week. There's also unemployment claims on a little bit earlier the same day. We have trade balance, and the big one here is FOMC meeting minutes, which happens on Thursday. Okay, so the meetings can be quite impacting on the market. All right, so lots and lots of US data, PMI figures over here on the Wednesday. And so USD definitely on the forefront for this week. What we also have, which is quite interesting, is we have a lot of Aussie data as well. We have trade balance on Tuesday. Now, please note, typically the first Tuesday of the month is the RBA interest rate decision announcement. Being January, it's not on for January, so it's only trade balance on Tuesday this week. We also have building approvals Thursday, retail sales, and we have China trade balance, which is big for the Aussie dollar. So I think the combination of all the Aussie data, all the US data, I think for this week, the one to watch is the Aussie USD. It's probably the one that's most impacted by data. Also closely followed by the GBP USD. As I'll show you, we have quite a bit of GBP data. Okay, starting with tonight, tomorrow, we have interest rate decision on Thursday, and we have PMI figures for Friday. Okay, so there's quite a bit of GBP USD as well. So I guess the two for this week, GBP USD and the Aussie USD, are the ones that are going to be affected mostly by data. Okay, so keep that. As always, just remember that these times that you're seeing on my screen are Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time. Okay, all right, I will move on and let's get onto the charts and let's see what's been happening. I have to admit that I pretty much only just started looking at my charts this morning. I genuinely had a holiday, didn't look at much. I have been getting very sore eyes in the last 2-3 months, and I'll tell you, 2 weeks of non-looking at charts, it's just done. I feel magic. I feel like everything's back to new. So I might have to go see an optometrist, see if I get some eye relaxing glasses or something. Okay, all right. So that's just a small side note. Aussie dollar. Now, Aussie dollar. Before we left for the break, we were trying to make somewhat of a bounce. If I go into a 4-hour chart, so during this period, the Aussie dollar was trying to recover. Okay, it hit the 82 level, and it's found a lot of resistance, and then bang, it shot back down. Now, more importantly than anything else, we've clearly broken into the 80 levels now, and you can see right now we're sitting at 80.59. Okay, so we are definitely into that 80 region. Now, when we started to look at the Aussie probably midway through last year, and when we were sitting at about 92, 91, 93 in that area there, we started to call out that the Aussie dollar was on the way down, and we were targeting the 80 region. We're pretty much there now, so I'm kind of look, even as much as I want to trade it down to 75, and look, intuition, whatever you want to call it, fundamentals says that. I do get the feeling that we're going to get a bit of resistance at the 80 level. Now, I don't know how long that resistance is going to last for. Will it recover? So there's a couple of things that we have to look out for, and there's one trade that I kind of want to take. It's a little bit cheeky. It's a decade trade. Let's have a look at it and let's see. If you like it, by all means you can join me on it. If not, that's okay. Just give it a miss. Okay. By the way, if any questions, just call them out as you see them, and I will address them for you. All right. So first of all, what I want to show you before I show you what I want to actually show you, this fractal on this candle over here, okay, which happened, so you would have seen this fractal, actually you would have only seen this fractal this morning. Okay, so this pretty much, it's a shame that we didn't get a nice setup to be able to trade downwards on that, because basically we would be trading a pullback on the way down. That's not a setup. It kind of looks like an engulfing thing, but it's not really. So there's nothing we could have done out of this particular trade in any case. All right. Now, the trade that I have an interest in is essentially what I want to do is I want to try and bounce off the 80 level. Now, I was checking my fib levels to see if there's anything to support the madness. Let me just double check. We're sitting on a fib level right now. Okay, I can see that I've stepped into a 4-hour chart, and when I draw from this low to this high and I extend down, my 161 doesn't really fall on the 80. It falls on 80.09. Okay, so 80.09. However, it's a decade number. I'm going to try and trade it. Okay, so I'm going to place an order. What I want to do is I want to buy in. Now, bear in mind that straight underneath the 80 level, without even seeing the orders out in the system, I can assure you there's going to be heaps and heaps and heaps of stops, because if I'm thinking this, there's got to be lots and lots of other people that are thinking the same thing. Okay, so what a lot of people are going to be doing, the ones that are thinking, oh, the Aussie's got to bounce back, okay, they're going to be placing, or they may already be in the market, but their stops are all lined up underneath the 80. If I do a 2040 on this trade, okay, there's a strong chance that this could just go straight down and then bounce straight back up, but it could easily go way more than 20. All right. Now, I don't want to get stubborn on the trade either, because if it goes down to like 79.30 or 79.40, well, then clearly the 80 level has not held, and we're in a trade for the wrong reasons. Okay, so I don't want to do that either. So I have to find a compromise in there somewhere. So what I'm going to try is I'm happy to jump out at 79.65. Okay, so if I go through 79.65, I'm going to call it a day. I'm wrong. Okay, now it may not get to 80. As soon as we start to get close to 80, like at about 80.05 or 80.10, you're going to start to see buyers come into the market. So sometimes it doesn't quite go down that low and it starts to make the move the other way. So I also want to get in on the trade as well. So I'm thinking I'm going to try and get it at around about 80. Let's make it 80.09 just to make it a funny number. Okay, and don't forget I've got to go through it by the spread, so on the chart it's going to be like about 80.07 as an example. So what does that work out to be? 75, 85, 85, so that's about 44 pips. Okay, and if we're going to bounce it, let's go for about, I'm thinking about 65. So it's a better than 1-to-1 trade. It's going to be about a 1.5 to 1 trade on the reward to risk. Does everybody understand what I'm describing here? And can you understand the reasons why I'm choosing these levels? I think if I go through that 65, technically then the 80 has not held and I'm wrong. Okay, now there is a chance that it can go through, catch a lot of orders in the system, and then basically just put me out of the trade as well, and then do the bounce and I miss out. So is everybody following the logic of what we're trying to do here? Yes? Okay, fantastic. So it's not really a Fibonacci round number. It's kind of close, but it is a massive, massive decade number. So a decade number doesn't get approached every single day. It's only going to cost me 44 pips, so I don't mind having a go at it. Okay, so I'm going to place an order and I'm going to risk on this one in terms of dollar value. I'm going to risk 50. Okay, and it's 44.65. So let me just place the order. One moment, so that I got it. And I'm just going to make my life easier and just use my mini terminal. Okay, so it's a buy limit. I want to get in at, I said 0.8009. I'm going to put a fixed cash risk on it, and I'm going to risk, let's make it 45, so it's going to be 0.1. So 44 is my stop. I've worked it out already, and my target, we said what did I say? Did I say 60 or did I say 65? 65. And let's place it. Okay. And you can see that I've placed it right where that fib level is landing. So just to highlight it for everybody, we are currently over here. I want the market to go down. There's my little green entry. I want it to hit and bounce up to my target there. If I'm wrong, there's the stop. Let's see if this sized the trade correctly. Let's have a quick look, make sure. 0.08. Yes, it has. Okay, done. Makes sense. So this is like a strange trade. It's kind of like a Fibonacci with a big decade number. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that one. But just I guess as a forecast for the future for the, I guess what we're thinking for the Aussie dollar. Look, the 75 is still something that is very much on the minds. Okay, US dollar strength coming in good if they raise interest rates in January, as there's speculation that we could easily break into the 70s. Once we stay under 80, then it definitely opens up the door for the 75 level. At the moment, we've just had a great run out of it. We've reached our destination, which is in the 80s. So I'm just trying to find us something for this week. We'll keep a careful eye on it and see what develops for next week and so forth. Okay, so that's the Aussie dollar for us this week. All right, let's have a look at the euro. Now let's talk about a couple of things here. Last week, pretty much most of the individual European countries, so Italy, I think France, Spain, they all missed their PMI figures. They missed them by a long shot. In actual fact, the only country that hit the PMI figures was Germany. Okay, consequently, what happened was the euro just plummeted down. In addition to that, Mr. Draghi came out and made comments of the nature, I can't remember exactly, but it was something along the lines that we are in a worse position today than 6 months ago in relation to the value of the euro, something along those lines. And what happened this morning when the market opened, okay, there's lots of orders into the system. The market opened way under the 120 level. If you look at this chart, I'll go into a 15-minute chart so that you can see it better. Now there's a couple of things that you'll notice, depending on look, with Admiral Markets, usually the first 15 minutes on the Monday morning, while there's hardly not much liquidity at all, what they do is they're basically just trying to get a price, and basically trading starts at about 1:15. Okay, in that first 15 minutes, on other price feeds, the price was just going crazy. There wasn't much liquidity, so we've been shielded out of all of that, which is really good. But essentially, what happened was we opened below 120. Okay, so this is Friday. Alright, so there you can see that trading stayed, that line that you can see on my chart is the 120 line. So pretty much trading stayed above 120 up until this morning. It opened at about 119.30 odd. Instantly, by opening at 119.30, what happened was, guess it, there was so many orders in the system all the way up here, which basically they all got triggered simultaneously, and it drove the price. Depending on what price feed you're looking at, on most price feeds that I've seen this morning, we actually went to 118.75. Okay, now it only lasted for about maybe 10-15 seconds, because instantly all the orders got taken out of the system, and back came in buyers and drove it straight back up. Okay, so it's that one of those circumstances, if you were in that, you pretty much just get stopped out. It's a horrible trade. It came on the back of the comments from Mr. Draghi, a big decade number, which is the 120, a gap in the market, all the orders. It's like the perfect cocktail. Okay, so that's basically what happened. The market drove back up. It all happened inside the first 15 minutes, so we can't see it on this particular chart over here, and pretty much it's just been steady. Now, what I'm kind of curious about now is there's still a gap in the market there, and pretty much just waiting to see what happens when Europe wakes up in a few hours' time, whether they will see what's happened as an opportunity to sell back into it. Okay, or if all the gap traders will come in and try and take advantage and see what happens there. Now, pretty much Mr. Draghi's comments are aimed at introducing or implementing an easing policy for the euro, which will weaken it. And there's now speculation that it's far-fetched at this stage, but they're talking about Euro USD getting moving much closer to that parity. Now that's a long way away right now, but 115 is not so ridiculous. Now that the 120 has been broken, it has definitely opened up the door to the 115 mark. All right. Now, if you remember, we had orders on the Euro USD. We were trying to short it off a pullback, but the market never came back to us. So we've kind of missed out on that. Like we've been trying to we've been trading this one down all the way, but we tried to get in at, I think it was 123, but we couldn't get in. Okay, so if anybody's still got that order out there, we've made brand new lows, so those orders are no longer valid. All right, let me have a quick look now on my daily chart. Let's see what we got. We also saw this, and now I don't remember if this combination here, okay, which was an entry price action trade right there, and we've taken out all these lows now. So at the moment for the euro, I'm kind of interested in selling rallies. So let me see if we can find anything. Okay, this area here seems like would be the area that you'd be looking to trade into. Okay, now I just want to show you something else what supports this. If I just go on a daily chart and I'm just running a resistance line over the top. Okay, now the reason that I'm doing this is essentially what I have a short bias on the Euro USD. Okay, so if I have a short bias, I'm trying to find areas where I can sell into it. Okay, so what I always look for when I'm doing that, if I can see a clear channel, makes it easier. If I have a top resistance level, it can give me an idea, or if I have Fibonacci levels, they may help me as well. Okay, now the Fibonacci levels are not lining up on any round numbers, although I did have a couple line up for me on different data at the 123, which is there. But this support line, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. It seems okay. So what I would be interested in is if this comes up into that area to sell it. Okay, it is a long way though, so I get the feeling that may not happen. So let me just get that fib level again. I really like the grey area here. This area here. Look, I'm not going to place an order on the Euro USD, but what I will do is I just got to monitor it and just see what kind of a pullback we get. And if we see, what we'll have to look for is, I'm on a daily chart, we'll have to look for a pullback with a fractal setup, and we may indeed get, it may happen on this line, or it may happen lower, and it'll give us an entry into this market. Okay, so I can't get a clear level right now. So what I need to do is need to wait for some kind of a pullback, get a fractal set up, and see how it all looks. Does that make sense to everybody? And believe me, this is a trade that I really, really want to be in. Because if I'm thinking, if this goes to 115 and it can open up the door to 114, 113, this is a trade that I really, really want to be in, especially if they come out, introduce an easing policy, the US dollar hits some strength. I really want to jump on. I want to be on this trade. Okay, so is anybody still in it? Because I know we took trades up here. And I know that we also took trades in here as well. And we may have taken some trades in there, I don't remember, because those are three really good setups based purely on price action. Okay, and this one here is 126. And plus, if anybody's in on this on a T-Chaser, you probably be in some nice areas as well. So I'm trying to get in, but I don't just want to get in it for the hell of it. Okay, so Brett's closed out before Christmas. Look, that's understandable. Okay, so we just basically want to. Oh, Charlie's in from 123. Nice. Okay, Alan as well. Great. Well, that's good. Look, from a fundamental point of view, if you're in from such a great entry, as long as you don't take a loss on the trade, okay, so have your stop. It's a trade that you really want to be in, because if it goes down to those levels, there's a lot of profit in it. Okay, so I'm just trying. So when I look at a chart on a Monday, I'm looking at it from the point of view that nobody's in the trade, and I'm trying to get you into it if that's the feel that we're getting. Okay, so I'm just going to have to wait to see what kind of a candle pattern I get on the next pullback, on the next fractal pullback. If I see it, I'll tweet it out. Okay, so no trades right now for Euro USD. GBP USD, let's have a look. Okay, the GBP PMI data that came out last week missed its target significantly. On top of that, the economy did show signs of growth, but it was nowhere near the anticipated amount that they were looking for. Okay, if I zoom in a little bit, especially we'll see it a bit better on a 4-hour chart. Remember the last session that we did for the year last year, we established that we were in some kind of a trading zone in there, and we said, look, if the only trade that I can really see at the moment is if we break it, let's trade it down. And look what happened. We got the break there, okay, and it did pull back a bit, but it definitely went down very, very nicely for us. Okay, so that's already happened. So now what I'm really looking for with this move being so significant, it was like, so it's about 330 pips, that little bit there. If I go into a daily chart, let me zoom in a little bit. Again, like with the Euro USD chart, what I'm trying to do here is draw a top resistance line. Okay, so I've got one touch, 2, 3, okay, and I'm trying to find the area where we come back to see if I can short. All right. Now with the GBP, I don't have the heavy bias like I do with the euro. All right. The euro is a different beast. The UK economy is not doing bad. Okay, it just so happens that the US economy is moving quicker than the GBP. So we have been on a big slide down. We've moved nearly 1,000 pips from up there to down here. So it wouldn't surprise me if very soon when we approach this line, this support line, that we start to look for the break into that direction. Okay. Now I just want to check one thing. Just bear with me one moment. You can see how sometimes you have to play around with it to see if you can actually capture things, but I can see if I ignore this point here. What do we think, guys? Do we like that? Does it look good enough for us? So I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm happy with the top line. I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm happy with the bottom line. Okay, so this changes everything. Let's have a better look now. Looks pretty good. Okay, in the back of my mind, keep the number 150 there. Okay, so don't lose track of the 150. It's a big decade number and we are approaching it. Okay, so what I'm going to be looking for, we're getting close to here. I'm going to be looking for a trade up. Alright, now there's plenty of room. So what we're going to be looking for probably over the next maybe 3 or 4 days, we're looking for a candle that shows us a fractal at the bottom, and then we're going to try and trade price action back into the channel. Now the good thing about it is that if we do come down, we are getting close towards that 150, which is going to give us some natural support. So we could get a nice trade out of this. All right, does this make sense for everybody? So I did not see that channel until pretty much about a minute ago when I saw it. And this is the beauty. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. I was looking for something else, and then there's the opportunity. So we need to wait about 3 or 4 days, and we're probably going to get something out of this one. All right, so keep it on your radar. Let me just have a quick check of one other thing. I was looking at something else before. Let's see if it's... No, it's all good. The other thing to keep a track of that might pop up for us is we just came out of this consolidation. So this area here can be the next resistance. So if we get a match between that resistance line and this channel of the market going to there, that's the next trade after this one. So I think we've got 2 trades in this. Probably over the next 2 weeks we've probably got 2 trades in this, unless this just goes down very, very quickly and the channel breaks. We could have 2 trades. Okay, if this one works, I think this one's got a higher probability than the one we're at right now. All right, so there's the next 2 trades for the GBP USD. All right, I will carry on. Gold. Let's have a look at gold. So gold's pretty much been playing out exactly how we predicted. Remember, we saw this very, very early. As soon as I think we saw it about here, we saw it, and I said I started to draw what looked like a triangle. We had to move it, and then pretty much from where I've just drawn that line, it was confirmed because I've got 1 touch, 2 touches, and then I had 1 touch, 2 touch, and what makes it even better now is 3 touches. Okay, so can anybody see that probably after today's candle we may have a trade? Let's zoom in on it and let's analyze it. This candle that I'm pointing at right now, on the proviso that this candle, that this one here, does not go lower than there, what's going to happen over here? I'm going to get a fractal. Okay? As long as the current candle, which is this one here, where I'm pointing at, does not go lower than here, I will have a fractal there tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking Sydney time. Alright? So, if I have a fractal tomorrow morning over here, what am I going to be looking for? What will I be looking for? If tomorrow morning, yes, okay, I'm going to be looking for a buy, but before I can buy, I need a confirmation. What am I looking for? The market has come from up the top, and if it's going to bounce on this line that we've drawn, we're going to be looking for some kind of a reversal, okay, a price action reversal pattern. So what I can see right now is that we may have, look at the candle here. Let's pretend we got the fractal already. As long as the current candle stays underneath there and underneath there, that's it, exactly, Stephen, that's correct. As long as we stay inside, we're going to get an inside bar. Okay, and if we get an inside bar, we can place an order right there to buy tomorrow. All right, so so basically, what if you don't want to look at this, you do need to look at this at 9 a.m. tomorrow. At 9 a.m. tomorrow, you will be able to either discard it because this candle's gone too far up and there's nothing there, and that's okay, or this candle's gone too far down and we have to, and it's not either. Or the third option is the candle stays inside the range and we can place a buy entry. Does that make sense to everybody? I get the feeling that it would be great if the candle pattern stayed exactly like they are right now, like this. I would love that. Then I'd place my order right there for tomorrow to go that way. My risk is going to be down there. It's going to be a trade, probably a 1-to-1. Okay? Fantastic. Everybody's with it. Everybody understands. That's right. So yes, this candle's got a nice tail as well. What I like about this particular candle right now, it's like a nice hammer looking candle as well. Everything's lined up, but I've got to wait. All right. So pretty much tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., if I see it, I will call it and I'll send it out. Okay. If I don't, well then obviously it hasn't happened. All right. So that's gold. Right now, I'm not doing anything. With this one, I'm just going to wait for that candle. And I did say a little when I started to notice before it was even a converging triangle, I did say that we could get one opportunity here, we could get another one here, okay, before we get the break out. All right, so, and I don't know which way the breakout's going to be either, but I'm happy to trade inside it. This is a nice setup. All right. Okay, I'll move on. Let's have a look at the US yen. Okay, US yen. We tried to get in on the US yen. Remember what? Does anybody remember what? I'm in the wrong account. I don't know where that account is right now. Can someone give me the level? What did we try buy at? Was it like 114 or 113 or 115 something? Does anybody have it? We didn't get triggered. We were over here somewhere or somewhere in there, and I was trying to get into it on a pullback. I didn't get triggered. I can't remember the number. 118. Is that right, Alan? Did we get triggered? No, we didn't get. Okay, so we must have been over a bit further along then. We must have been over here somewhere. Oh yeah, and we were trying to get in at about there, and it came down to there, but not quite enough to get us into the trade. Okay, so we're trying to take a piece into the trade. Now, there is a price action situation there, okay, but because this high is lower than this high there, it really wouldn't have been, I mean, even though it could work, it's not really the trade that I would have taken long. Okay, so can everybody see what I've just circled? There is a price action situation right there that I've circled, but because that high is lower than that high, it kind of doesn't fit in correctly to buying into a dip. Okay, and it could basically what I can actually see here is the following. All right, it looks to me that the 120 level, the 122, 120 is offering some kind of resistance. All right, now if the US comes good, we can easily go to 125. All right, so I'm not discarding that. However, it's a little bit bumpy right now, and what I can see is I can see this situation happening. Okay, now I'm not sure if it's going to be correct or not, but I get the feeling that it might be like that, the journey. All right, so how do we take advantage of that, or how do we start to monitor it? So let's draw some proper lines. Let me zoom in a bit better. And this one here, I don't know if it's the angle of the bottom line. Does everybody understand that the bottom line at the moment is just provisional because I don't know what it's going to look like? We all understand that? Okay, this is exactly how the gold chart over here started. I didn't know where the bottom line was, or sorry, I didn't know where the top line was with that one, and we had to start to work it out. All right, so at the moment, I don't know if the if it's going to be a bottom here or if it's going to be here, and consequently, I may have to come back and adjust this line. For the moment, I'll just leave it like that because it makes my eye aware of what we're looking for. In theory, I can't take a trade right now. However, if you are an aggressive trader, all right, if you're an aggressive trader, you may have an opportunity right now over here to trade back inside on the proviso that we get a fractal over here tomorrow. Does everybody understand that? So I'm happy that I've got two touches at the top. So what I'm going to be looking for, I don't want to do it off a 4-hour chart. I'm going to do it off a daily chart. So what I'm looking for is this. I'm looking if this candle here has a fractal tomorrow. Okay, for that to happen, the current candle cannot go higher than that level. So if this current candle comes down and finishes there somewhere like that, then I'm going to have the perfect setup to enter in that direction. All right, so everybody with me? If by the way, if you're not understanding some of the things that I'm talking about, you'll need to go and review the price action strategy classes in on the website. I do cover it in quite a lot of detail. I'm just using those tools to try and help us find the way into this particular trade. All right, now I will say this is a little bit of a more aggressive trade, and the reason why is because we could also technically end up moving this top line a little bit as well. It may have to shift up a little bit if this makes a little bit of a higher high right now. Okay, so at the moment where we are is correct. In theory, it's only going to be correct once I go down to the bottom and then I lock them. Once I've got two touches on each one, at that point I've locked in the lines and I can trade correctly. At the moment I haven't locked them in, so I'm taking an aggressive trade if I get the setup here. All right, everybody understands that, correct? Fantastic. Okay. All right. So that's my US yen. Look, the 125 does look good. All right. But you know it can't happen so quickly. All right. Like we've just had a massive movement all the way to where we are. So there can be a patience. Bijan, are you referring to these two here inside bar? Why am I not trading that way? Is that what you're asking me? Okay, that's as I said when I first moved to the US yen. The reason why I did not trade that particular setup there is because the high, this high, is lower than that high there, which could represent a change in the trend or consolidation. I don't want to trade price action in consolidation. Okay, I only want to trade, if I do trade it in consolidation, I want to trade it on the border, like on the edge of a channel or the edge of a triangle. Okay, otherwise, I want to trade price action in a trend. So, for example, if this was the trend there and I got the price action happening there, yes, I will take it. What's happening here looks more like this. I'll show you. It looks like it's gone up, it's gone down, it's gone up, and we're over here, and you're trying to trade it right there. This, because this is lower than that, if you do trade it that way, I mean, it could work, but you are no longer trading the trend. You are now trading inside the consolidation. Does that make sense, Bijan? Anybody else? Does it make sense? Cool. All right. So, yes, Bijan is correct. The setup is right, but it's in the wrong spot. Okay. So that setup over here. See, look at this one here. It's exactly the same. Exactly the same setup, but it's at the bottom, and it's beautiful right there. Bang. Okay. So this one, no. All right. Let's move on. Let's have a look at the euro yen. Okay, euro yen is it's, apart from it being my favorite trading pair, it's got me a little bit sort of fundamentally, I'm undecided. Okay, the reasons for that is two major reasons. The Japanese want to weaken their currency. Okay, however, they're at a point that everybody, they're getting a lot of pressure from everywhere else, and it's going too weak, and Mr. Abe's attempts towards the end of last year at sort of with the sales tax and things like that hasn't really given the results that it needed. So they may have to abort a little bit. But primarily, it's a country that wants to have a weak currency. All right, so that's one. The euro right now is a region or that a currency that is strongly contemplating an easing policy. Okay? The yen is a currency that wants to weaken the currency. Okay? And at the moment, right now, the euro is also wanting exactly the same thing. So they're both trying to achieve the same thing, which leads to normally the currency may just go sideways for a little bit. All right. Now, the longer term is that basically we're going to go higher. That's the longer term view. All right. But in the meantime, what I was looking for opportunities to buy dips, but what I just noticed before is that all of a sudden now we got lower highs and lower lows. Okay. So perhaps this is starting to change the trend in the other direction. So because of that, I found us a little channel to trade in on a 4-hour chart. You can see it. It is confirmed. I've got 1, 2 at the top. Well, it's actually about to be confirmed. I've got 1 and I'm getting very close here. So I'm on a 4-hour. So as you would guess by now, what am I looking for? I'm going to be looking for an opportunity over here to buy into the euro yen. Okay, that's pretty much all I have on this particular one. I've got to wait this one out. There is a big gap that's still closed, so I get the feeling that it's going to go down to this channel first, give us the chance that we want, and then aim for the other side. All right, so that's what I'm seeing on the euro yen. If I had to guess, we're probably about maybe 6, 7 candles away from finding out. So that's about a day and a half. Okay, does that make sense for everybody? So the euro yen, looking to see what happens as I approach this 4-hour channel. Okay. All right, let's have a look at the next one. Kiwi dollar. Oh, did anybody trade this nice price action trade right there? You would have had to have traded on Friday. Did anybody get that? No? All right, so that was off a daily chart. What I did notice is this top support line. So I've drawn it in. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. Very, very strong line. Um, I'm looking for a short opportunity. Look, apologies for the sound. I'll have to get on top of this internet connection at the moment. But it is recorded, so if you just jump on, I'll have it on there within about an hour and a half. Just jump over to the end of it, you can catch the end. But what I'm basically looking for on the Kiwi dollar is I'm looking for there's two things. I'm going to be looking for the next time I approach that line, but what I also am looking for, and I noticed, and I'll show it to you on a 4-hour chart, is if I draw a fib from down here to that top, you can see that I have at the 76, which is a round number, I also have a 1618 fib extension. Okay, so the trade that I'm looking for is that. And also, if I go to a daily chart, you can also see that the 76 is very, very close to a double bottom. So let's have a look at it. There it is. You can see here there's very close to a double bottom. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and buy in at 76. And with this one, let's give me one sec. What did I give myself? Let's give ourselves a 30-point stop and we'll go for 50 pips. Okay, so we're going to get 30.50. The reason I'm going for a bit of extra, the normal is volumes are still a bit light, so we could trickle past quite quickly. So I'm just got to give myself a bit more buffer, and I will take. Let's just take a $45 risk on this trade. 1 second while I load up my mini terminal, and I will place this one right now. Okay, so to buy limit, I want to get in at 76. Cash risk is, I'm going to go for $40 as cash risk. My stop is going to be 30. And my target is going to be, I said 50. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm going to place it. And there we go. Alright, so just to highlight what I've done, okay, so Alex says looks like an expanding market. Let me have a quick look. I don't see that, Alex. If you have a look, if you actually have a look, it's actually coming narrower. So obviously we can see the top line there, so it's coming in on itself. Um, I, on the 4-hour chart. Okay, all right. Let me have a look. Okay, yes, on a 4-hour chart, I would say yes. All right. Now, I still feel based on the daily chart looks a bit better. It's a tough one, okay? So it's not quite okay. Let me try and draw to you what I call a proper expanding market. Let me just find a bit of space here on the side, and I'll just draw for you. So let's say typically if the market's kind of doing this and then you go 1 and 1, okay, so where there was a clear range and we've gone up and down. In this particular case over here, if you can still see that everything is still bound, I'm still inside that area there effectively. So what you in this narrow part, yes, I did expand, but still this is not too far ago, so I wouldn't consider this one as such, Alex. Okay, so but well spotted. All right, so on my daily chart, that's it. I am buying in at 76. I just check that order. It sized me incorrectly. Yes, it's all good. All right, and the final one for the first week back, Euro Aussie. The Euro Aussie. There's only one thing that I'm clearly looking at. This is a daily chart. We broke out of this area here. We come back. We are testing that support now. So there's only one thing that I'm going to look for. I'm going to look for a price action setup, so the price action setup will display to me where the fractal should be, and it should give me the entry in. Okay, so this one, depending on what today's candle ends up finishing looking like, and tomorrow we could get a setup on Wednesday or it could be Thursday. Okay, so with this one, you just got to watch where the fractal comes. So we've got to, if tomorrow's candle is kind of like this one will have a fractal, and then the following day we'll have the setup to go long. Okay, that's pretty much it for this week. Apologies for the connection. I will have the recording up as soon as I can. Other than take this as an opportunity to maybe set out some goals. If you haven't, I know we should set our goals at any time of the year. You don't necessarily have to wait for a new year, but since it's the trend, this might be a time to review and reset, rejiggle. If you want me to have a look at them, send them through. I'm more than happy to look and comment on and give you some ideas on things that you may want to consider as well. Other than that, have a good trading week, and we'll be back on Thursday at 3:30 as usual. Okay? Have a great day, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye for now, guys.